Welcome back, Acolytes, to the Temple of Clothis. I'm the man with as many trophies as Phil Hellmuth has bracelets. And we're gonna keep chasing that high and bringing glory to Clothis with Temur Reclamation and Modern. So gamble away all your liking. Are you on a gambling on a poker kick a chest? By helping the stream by liking, sharing, commenting, gifting a sub, hitting the icon, gifting a sub again, and buying a CFB Pro sub. Praise Clothis. Good morning, everybody. We're still Principe has not quite got that 15th trophy. It really does feel like like any moment now we're gonna be overtaken. Yesterday we lost playing for 5-0 twice on stream, and I'm hoping that we can grab a trophy today. I'm playing the Temur Rec deck that we played a bit of last week. I don't think we were playing Endurances. Maybe we did one league. But that was kind of like the big sideboard change was adding Endurance to the sideboard. I did trophy twice with this deck when we were playing it last week, and so I think I wanted to bust it out again today, get a little bit of a refresher, see how I'm feeling about the list. Your Dita gambling point, gotta rebuild my channel points from 108. Brutal. Yeah, it was a bad day to be a believer yesterday. Bad day to be a believer yesterday. I think things needed to balance out a bit because we've been rewarding the believers a lot lately. Against Kihira the Orphan Guard. Okay. I haven't played much against elementals with this deck. I think that it's probably a fine matchup though, where like their furies, their endurances, their solitudes really won't be all that good. Maybe solitude will be good. But I think that there's a chance we can go over the top of them. Then my opponent's mulling to 5 here. I'm not sure. Elementals is the new deck to beat. I think so, yeah. Maybe. Well, I guess I wouldn't call Elementals the deck to beat because it really isn't all that popular, you know? It's like, Elementals is a really, really strong deck. I do think it's one of the best decks in Modern at the moment, at least in the current metagame. But it is really not a deck that's all that popular, to be honest. You know, and even though I think the deck is quite good, I will like freely admit that like a big part of the reason why it's as good as it is that there is a distinct lack of decks that would naturally prey on decks like elementals. Like nobody's playing Tron, nobody's playing Titan, nobody's playing spell-based combo. And so it definitely is like the time for elementals players to capitalize on the environment of the metagame. But I definitely do not feel like elementals is going to be a tier 1 deck forever in Modern. Hey Giglio, how you doing today? Okay, so we can go Spiral into Counterspell this turn. Nice to have a Triome plus Reclamation plus Wrenn. What do you think about Lingering Souls in the current format? I actually feel like Lingering Souls is great in Modern at the moment. I am really resisting the urge to build a, like, Abzan or Mardu Kaya Lingering Souls terrible deck. But it's just like both Kaya and Lingering Souls seem really good, and so trying to build some kind of white-black mid-range pile like does actually seem like something that you're incentivized to do in Modern at the moment. My opponent grabs a Risen Reef with the Harbinger. Hopefully they're not sandbagging a cavern. We already have one Triumph to cycle, so I think I'm just gonna get this tapped here. Yeah, good old black-white tokens. Yeah, I think Lingering Souls is good in Modern at the moment. I was telling this to my friend Dalton, who Lingering Souls is his favorite card. He got pretty excited. But I'm not of course convinced that it's gonna be like that for like very long. I'm playing Esper Invis, I think Jace may be good in the list. I think Jace is bad in the list, where like a huge strength of the Esper Reanimator list is that cards like Unholy Heat and Lightning Bolts are like, I mean Heat kills Heat does kill Archon, but like cheap removal spells are not very good against the Esper Reanimator list, and there are a ton of cheap removal spells in Modern at the moment. So playing a card like Jace, and all of a sudden your opponent's like cheap removal spell becomes a very good card is just not something I think I'm that interested in. Why is it good for now too? Yeah, a lot of 1-for-1 removal and a lot of creatures that like souls can block somewhat profitably. I could be wrong that it's good, but I have a suspicion that it is. Draw 2. I go snap, draw 2. I don't have any other interaction up, so I think I just pass. I could go snap spiral. Probably fine. The deck tech for Brang. Just let me finish this turn real quick. The 4th snap. Okay, well I like my decision to snap the spiral then. But an Esper, yeah, I think Esper Stoneblade could be a thing, yeah. Kind of interesting. A little slow maybe. Am I gonna bolt though? Okay, they just pack it in. Yeah, I feel like this matchup is fine. Of all the decks I've been playing, this one definitely has the best elementals matchup, so I'm pretty lucky that, like, you know, that's what we're playing when we finally get paired against it. Solterek, cool. I don't think that you need that much to enable Drown into lock at the moment, so I think it's fine to just play Drown kind of naturally. If the metagame changes a bit, that you are going to need, some Thought Scours to enable the card if you want to keep playing it. I think the first Cryptic Command is fine. Actually, I think I really like just like that you're playing 1 copy. I would like to see more 1-mana removal, so like maybe Bloodsheep's Thirst. I know it's not an instant, but it like just like only having 4 Fatal Push in the monkey format in a deck like this can be pretty scary. You could maybe just choose to just try to get lucky. I would be nervous about that approach. I don't think I'm sideboarding on this matchup. I don't think I want any of these cards. I don't even think I want the 4th Counterspell. I think or actually just kind of pre-boarded. But I think that you've got a good list here overall. I'm not sure that I don't necessarily feel like this is better than Temur, where Wrenn and Six and the red removal spell, getting access to more cheap removal feels really important. But I think this is totally fine. I might like to see the first Cling to Dust in the main deck. I also don't think you need Aether Gust, at least in the modern metagame at the moment. Titan decks are not popular, and you already have a fine Titan matchup as it is without the Gust, I think. I'm not a big fan of Click in this metagame. It could be like a fine sideboard card in some environments, but I probably wouldn't be playing it at the moment. I think that you need more artifact and enchantment destruction. A Collector Oof or Creeping Corrosion could go a long way in a deck like this. I like the Thoughtseize. I do like the Nature's Claims, but I feel like you probably want like 4 or 5 sideboard cards like that. Decay might be a fine main deck card too. I feel like Decay is way better in the main deck usually than in the sideboard. But I feel like your main deck's pretty tight. Also, the Ice Fangs aren't that good. It is also, it's definitely possible you're light on win conditions, but I guess just 1 Ice Fang and Nexus of Fate can kill your opponent, so maybe that's not true. Kind of some loose thoughts. I think your list is pretty good, so I don't think it needs like too much rework. I think my Cave of the Frost Dragon or Creeping Tarpit and Esper Reanimator. I don't think you want a man land in that deck. Obviously you could play one, but I don't think you really want one. How do you feel about this hand? Probably have to keep, but I'm not in love with it. Not a lot of Titan, but a lot of Blood Moon. Gus is a Blood Moon answer. Well, it is a Blood Moon answer, but it's not. I guess it is nice that you get to cast it off the island, but you know they do get to put it back on top. It's not always the best answer. But I also don't think that there are that many Blood Moons in Modern either at the moment, and like maybe you could play like just the 3rd Nature's Claim too if you're really afraid of that card. It's also nice you could like Nature's Claim Utopia Sprawl against Ponza on turn 1. But if you like the Gus, you know, play the Gus. Disney on Ice Fang, they're a bit. Yeah, I agree, Brain, with you that Ice Fang is well positioned. It is like it's well positioned, but it is like really tough on your mana base as well. But it's doable. We're gonna play a Harbinger on 1. I imagine they get I mean, they might get like Voice of Resurgence actually. Yeah, they do get Voice of Resurgence. Why did I say that? Yeah, Bant Reclamation would be cool. I do wish that like Ice Fang was just a little bit easier to enable. Like there's just no other good snow cards, and like you're really incentivized to be 3 colors these days, and Ice Fang struggles in 3 color decks a little bit. Was I worried about not having any removal for creatures bolted ending can't hit? Not really, no. Cause there aren't too many creatures that bolt and ending can't hit, and the ones that you do miss, you have Murktide Regent in your deck to just block them. You know, like that's kind of like quietly your answer to opposing Murktide Regents is your own Murktide Regent. And you also have Teferi Time Raveler, which can bounce them. So I wasn't too worried about it now. Is Aether Gust considered a 1/1? It is, yeah, because you're not because you're putting it on top of their library, not back in their hands, so that they have to spend a draw step to get it back, which is, you know, a card. Juggernautica, thank you for your gifted sub. It's nice of you. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, got 2 for 1 off the Voice of Resurgence, but my opponent did mulligan on the play. And if you know, these matchups are like really different if they just don't draw Cavern of Souls, you know. It seems like that might be the case here. I think Voice of Resurgence deserves spot in Elementals. I do. I think that it like one of Elemental's weaknesses is that they are kind of slow to come out of the gates. So Voice of Resurgence is a good speed bump. But I don't think it's mandatory. I know that Canister hasn't been playing it, but I think that in some metagames and in some environments, it's definitely a card that I would recommend playing. Do you still like Esper Sentinel? Yeah, I actually oh, this is just like the perfect 2 cards off the top. Yeah, I've actually been feeling like Esper Sentinel is a little underplayed in Modern. And I've been trying to think of like different shells for Sentinel besides just like the ones I've been playing it in, but it might just be the case that just like regular blue-white or Esper Stoneblade, like I was playing at the beginning of the format, might be swinging back around into popularity or viability. Yeah, I think Sentinel's pretty underplayed, just as like a good 1-drop. I'm gonna snap bolt this. Wait, so no mono white taxes? That's awesome. Yeah, I think the card's really good. I need to pick some up in paper. But they're like pretty expensive, right? I think they're like one of the pricier rares from MH2. Advanced away with Esper Sentinel. It's interesting. Oh, they had the Ephemerate. Brutal. That's fine. I think we're still doing well. They get to put 2 counters on this Harbinger, but they're out of cards. Oh wait. Oh, they put a counter on the Omnath so it doesn't die to another bolt. That makes sense. Brood Core, 4 months, welcome back. I'm doing well today. So they can ephemerate their Harbinger and grab the other Omnath in their upkeep if they want to. So I'm pretty interested in finding a counterspell. Yeah, so I think I want to do this. I also kind of want to hardcast the Typhoon next turn. Down 2 counterspells and a Wrenn and Six. Then the Castle Vantress is also valuable too. My final thoughts on the Jeskai build. I liked it. We 4-1 3 leagues in a row. Lost playing for 5-0 twice. I like the deck, but I feel like it's like specifically good in the Magic Online metagame. It might not be as well positioned in a different environment. But I am liking it in the Magic Online metagame specifically. But 4 Signal, 4 Stone for Measures, 2 Snap, 1 Brazen, 4 Queller. Well, I mean,
What's up? It's me, your friend.
I mean, the issue with Bant though is the mana base sucks. So I'm curious how you feel about the mana base. I guess. Mr. 3000, the movie. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Or are you just playing blue white? Yeah, because if you're playing blue white, then I think that's doable. I'm surprised they're tutoring with Harbinger here, just because I just have the counterspell to counter whatever they get. Could play one of the tap snow duels, see how it goes. I mean, I have been playing one of the tap snow duels. Doesn't seem like it's good at all, or it doesn't like help that much. Helps some. They got endurance. I guess that makes sense. So I'm just gonna take my draw step. If I draw a spell to cast, oh, perfect. I think perfect. Yaden, 20 months, appreciate ya. Welcome back. Yeah, so I hardcast Typhoon, they endurance and response, and then I get to Factor Fiction, make a 4/4 block here, take 4, hold up Counterspell. That probably wins. But it is a bit dangerous to go down to 2. But they don't have too much reach in the deck, and we have Counterspell, so probably feeling okay. Is there a place for Alpine Moon naming Cavern Souls to play? I mean, it's usually not a great exchange for you, but I imagine that that doesn't seem like the worst line that you could ever take. I don't think they're not supposed to shuffle my graveyard. Yeah, my graveyard was just too much gas to shuffle there, I think. Although now I guess my Unholy Heat isn't delirious. This is not the split, is it? I imagine they're still thinking. Matchup seeming decent, but my opponent did mulligan like pretty. I think they mulligan to 5 in both games, or maybe just 5 game 1, 6 in this game. I feel like this matchup is fine. Which is I am. Is this a concession? What? A misclick? A clever ruse to get me to deck early. Bog, thank you for 5 months, appreciate ya. I remember back in RTR Innistrad Standard, I would play, oh, don't cast a spell into my counterspell. Don't cast a spell into my counterspell. I remember when RTR Innistrad Standard was, the standard format. I played a lot of, like, green-white against my friend's Esper control deck, and I just, like, lost so many games. After I got Supreme Verdicted, but I did win a few games by just splitting the Jace Architect of Thought pile 3-0, and then they like my friend decked before they could he'll attack with the 4/4. My friend decked before they could you know, finish me off because I kept giving him 3 cards with Jace Architect of Thought. I'm gonna just kill this. Factor Fiction was always draw 5. Would it be better than Into the Story? Perhaps. I did not think that they would give me 5-0. I'm assuming that was just a misclick. Yeah, John Yard was their win condition. They just couldn't John Yard me fast enough. I guess this means I can't snap Factor Fiction here. Yeah, I think it was just a misclick. Alright, let's keep this. You think I'll play yesterday's Jeskai deck again? Yeah, at some point. Probably not today. But I like the deck. We had back-to-back 4-1s. Or sorry, back-to-back-to-back 4-1s. I will bolt the bird. This deck isn't on Stream Decker. It should be. Stream Decker is being a bit weird. Yeah, it's set as the deck. It's like the 7th deck back. We've played this deck before. So if you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on a creature you control. When it comes to level 3, return target creature from your graveyard to battlefield. You gain. Oh, it's any creature? That's kind of cool. Resolves. I guess we're playing as Heliod. You know, Heliod players have started to pick their deck up again. I don't feel like this is it. Wait, what happens if I steal Cleric class in response to the activated ability? Do I get the ability? I think I do, right? Because the ability goes on the stack. I steal it. Then I gain control of the Cleric class. Just want the extra mana here. I don't think I care about this. Alright, pretty good. Hard pile for them. Kinda wish I had left the Triumph in my hand now. Man, snapping back Fact or Fiction seems pretty good. I think I'll just do that. Snapcaster blocks the Ariok champion too. Yeah, well, I can actually wait. I can level up the Cleric class with the Birds of Paradise. Just master deck building. Yeah, I like Dakin. I think Dakin is like specifically good in Esper Stoneblade, but not too good in like any other shell. Yeah, I would love to get to steal the Cleric class in response to the activated ability and like get back my Snapcaster. Yeah, I do not think that the Cleric class is Heliod's solution to returning to a tier 1 deck in Modern. It's quite the pile here. I see the Jessica control list with Electrolyze main deck. I didn't see it, no. I don't feel like Electrolyze is completely unplayable at the moment, to be honest. I do, however, don't feel like it's, you know, necessarily the best card in the format or whatever. There we go, Hardcast Typhoon, Bolt the Captain. Yeah, I don't feel like it's completely unplayable, but it's also like Electrolyze competes with, like in just Sky Control specifically, it competes with Archmage's Charm, Snapcaster Mage, Teferi Time Raveler, to some extent Prismari Command. And you just can't play infinite 3-drops. Fire Ice also is like, it's kind of hard to like justify Electrolyze when Fire Ice exists. Kobe, 3 months, appreciate you. Glad you liked the stream. I will do my best to never change under any circumstance. Any changers in the chat? I guess I'm gonna play a second Typhoon with Counterspell up. This game is very over. This like actually kills them next turn, right? We do beat Infinite Life because Nexus of Fate lets us take infinite turns. So we break up the Infinite Life combo. We have a Shark, attack him infinite times. It's actually pretty easy to do if you have Hardcast Typhoon in play on Magic Online to deal infinite damage. Because like it's just like your clock +7 every single turn. They should concede to this. I imagine it's lethal. Savior, 2 months, appreciate ya. I mean, they do get to gain, you know, 2 life per Shark. They've not pecked it in yet. Can Heliod give the class counters? Well, so the Heliod gives +1/+1 counters, not class counters. I don't think it works that way. But like it could put +1 counters on the class, but it just the class doesn't do anything when +1 counters are on it. Bam. Alright. Back to back, pretty good matchups, I feel. But I mean I didn't sideboard against elementals. I might not be sideboarding against Heliod. Counterspell is probably fine. The 4th counterspell. I might want like the first explosives too, because champion can be hard to kill. Spiral seems pretty good too. Snapcaster's kind of bad against Ranger Captain. I can just trim 1. Endurance doesn't even seem that bad either. This is a 3/4 blocker. An instant speed. That's green, can block Ariok Champion. Yeah, our whole deck seems pretty good against them. Chalice on 3. I mean, it's probably pretty good if we can get it down, but it's 6 mana. I don't think that should be something to bring in. Dream last night, trophy so high I couldn't see the sun. A strong red-haired boy, flashy boys, double blue cards, so much beauty I could only sit and weep. It's been foretold. The ascension of the chosen brew, hell yeah. Hopefully I can make the prophecy come true. Ballista, ballista, ballista. Never lucky. The very playable Conclave Mentor. Been a while since I've seen this guy. I guess I'm gonna bolt it this turn. Don't know what shenanigans they're up to, I'll just do it now. And then do I get another Triome? I feel like I've got enough gas that I'm not really gonna need to cycle with Wrenn this game. I kind of want to steal the bird, I think. Yeah, this lets me go Wrenn plus Charm next turn into maybe Hardcast Typhoon. This Coco? It's Heliod with a mana up, which implies Veil of Summer. They shocked. Isn't that good for us? We're kind of cold to Veil of Summer here. But I mean, it's also true that, you know, Infinite Life is not that big of a concern to us. So, but if they go for Ballista, I mean, they have to have a land to Ranger Captain. Okay, so if I counter this, I'm pretty confident that we're just gonna get Veil of Summered. Maybe I'm gonna Spiral in response. But I feel like Wrenn is a hard must in the deck. Well, yeah, Wrenn's like really important to the stack. Yeah, so my opponent does need a land to be able to go off with Veil of Summer next turn, but I guess they just have the Ranger Captain. So I need to find some interaction here. But just like maybe it was just a sick bluff that they shocked in the Temple Garden, but I'm inclined to believe that they have the Veil. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to get Island, but I can't imagine it's gonna matter that much. Okay. Reclamation generates some mana here, so let's go. We need to find a burn spell off this Fact or Fiction. Ideally 2. Didn't find any. We have a rebuy with this Spiral. Big winner. Yeah, they just sack their captain and we lose. I'll make them do it though. That's fine. We have game 3 on the play. And what seems to be a pretty good matchup. They still need a land. No, the Conclave Mentor means they don't need a land. The Ballista will enter with 2 counters. You need the Brimspell to kill the Mentor. I would need to kill the Captain, because they just sack the Captain and I die. I think I can counter the Ballista if they don't draw a land. We can, yeah. They're just gonna sack their Captain and we can't do anything. We just don't have outs. Oh, I guess no. We could have cycled Typhoon into and bolt the Mentor. Yeah, we would have missed though. That was the out that I missed. I'm feeling Endurance a little bit more than Explosives, but maybe I just want the 3rd Wreck. Actually, Wreck seems good against them. Try this. Yeah, the reason why Cryptic Command is that it's not a very good card in Modern at the moment. I know that kind of sounds obvious, but you know, I was writing about this last night in an article that's not out yet, but Modern is a format that rewards 2 different skill sets that are kind of at odds with each other, right? Where in Modern, you're really rewarded for having a lot of experience in mastering the format and understanding various pillars of the format and understanding, you know, what's good and what's not good, and rewards like learning play patterns and making habits. But those habits and those things that you learn can make you kind of narrow-minded and think that like, oh, Rec decks need to play Cryptic, blue-white decks need to play Path to Exile and Celestial Colonnade. You know, it's like you can really get tunnel vision and just be kind of narrow-minded about deck building because of your because of, you know, the way that Modern does reward you for just being very experienced. And then it's also true that like the other skill set that Modern rewards is like flexibility and innovation and like trying new things, and like that's like, you know, what I've built my whole career on, is being like willing to try things when other people aren't. But it's also true that if you're just like too willing to try new things and you're not like willing to like build on any knowledge, you can also like, oh hell yeah, right on time. You know, if you're not willing to like, you know, keep in, you know, experiences and knowledge that you've gained when you're trying to innovate, when you're trying to try new things, that's a really good way to I think I'm just gonna let this resolve. That's a really good way to just, you know, build bad decks. And so like balancing your experience and your willingness to try new things is a really important thing to finding success as a deck builder in Modern. I was writing about that last night. I said it a little bit better, I think, when I just had it on paper. Alright, I'll try to snap Counterspell. If they Veil of Summer, it, you know, they have infinite life, but we can beat infinite life. I haven't typed this message in a while, sorry. Wait, they didn't go for it? Whatever, it's fine. They could just have it. Yeah, so Nexus lets us take infinite turns, and then if we just have a Shark in play, which we will, we'll take, you know, we'll deal infinite damage too. AKO. Yeah, Australian time, it seems pretty rough for watching the stream. We're glad to see you in chat. Yeah, opponent maybe made a bad deal before. What do I think of Iteration and Jeskai Blade? You know, Stoneforge Mystic is not necessarily a card that works that well with Expressive Iteration. My odds infinite life are at this Nexus of Fate. I just said it, but you take infinite turns, and then that deals infinite damage. When this is the last card in your deck, it's just, which it will be eventually, it is a 1-card infinite turn combo, which translates to infinite damage with Sharks. Or a Snapcaster. think let's not be greedy and lose to Ballista here. We can just cast a second Factor Fiction in our instep. The Stream Decker should be up to date, but I think the site itself is having some problems. You're counting them on conceding at that point? I'm not. I'm not absolutely not counting on them conceding at that point. Because my opponent doesn't have a button that says infinite life, just like I don't have a button that says just like I don't have a button that says like deal infinite damage. And if I have a hard cast Typhoon in play and I cast Nexus of Fate, I can deal hundreds and hundreds of damage very quickly. I have 19 minutes on my clock. If they gained 1,000 life, I could easily kill them. Even if they did have its life, you can deck them with Nexus. That's only if I discard it to hand size every turn, though. Which is unlikely to get the job done. Yeah, we just have one Nexus, but that's all you need. It's just like so hard to interact with. Well, eventually this will be our only card in our deck, and eventually it'll gain us infinite turns. They have a second Veil of Summer. Seems like they don't. Interesting draw. I think we go Wrenn and Six, Cycle Triome, Return Triome, Nexus of Fate. Spiral. There's the Nexus again. Maybe I just want mana now. Yeah, the more cards you draw, the more turns you take. I do have a land drop I can play here. I'm just drawing 2. I do have to bolt the Spike Feeder at some point. I don't want to put the Triumph into play. I want to keep it for Wrenn and Six. I have Delirium, I don't. I could save this with the Pendlehaven. Oh, I didn't see that we had the castles in the graveyard too. We should have led on the Snap Factor Fiction. I think draw 2 is best cast after Nexus. We could hit a land though if we draw 2 first, but maybe you're right. So I'm not gonna. They're at infinite life, so I'm gonna wait till I have the actual infinite turns to start attacking. I think I just want to hard cast that. I mean, it's maybe better to cycle. I should just be safe to pass here. Wrenn and Six should ultimate soon. I have 2 burn spells available. They play Ballista. I'm going to use burn spells here. I do have Delirium now. Yeah, so I'll bolt. They'll lifelink. I'll bolt again. I think I'll just castle here. Alright, there's the Nexus, so I can go. I guess I don't need to hardcast the Typhoon, but it's probably fine too. I think I'll cycle. And I could just draw 2. I could ultimate this Wrenn. Ultimate the Wrenn, Fact or Fiction, find the Nexus, take infinite turns. Is Casting Typhoon better than cycling with infinite life? I kind of just want to show that I can deal like millions of damage, you know? But yeah, cycling is better. But I just kind of wanted to show that I could deal millions, you know? Doesn't really matter at this point in the game. All right, 2-0. I'm liking Temur Rec, although maybe it's easy to say that after hitting 2 pretty good matchups in a row. But I mean, that is a big part of the appeal to this deck, is that it has a lot of good cards to target the metagame with Wrenn and Six, Charm, and then, you know, a lot of cheap removal, while also, you know, dodging like a lot of what the dodging a lot of the metagame too. I would like that card is your best creature, I think. If you have the rest of the Jund deck, you have the Reds, the Ragavans, I would aggressively try to get the Darcys. And like any creature I suggest playing instead is going to be more expensive than the Darcys, right? A 24 land deck is Spiral meaningful. We have 3 Wrenn and Sixes too, which like is very good with Spiral. I guess I don't know, the term meaningful kind of feels a bit charged, maybe, right? It sounds like you're saying, hey, don't you think Spiral's actually bad because you only have 24 lands? Living End is an interesting matchup. Probably not that good. Oh, we have 3 Endurance in the sideboard. Okay, never mind. It's probably fine. Does Spiral ramp most of the time or just cycle? It ramps more often than it just cycles. You know what I mean? It's absolutely. I've been liking the card in the deck. Yeah. I wonder if we can beat like a. We'll see what they cycle this turn. We might be able to beat a Living End. Oh, that's so good for us. I don't think I want Effective Fiction now. I have to go to discard, and then I also like they can Pitch Force. That's my favorite way to shut down 5-color elemental. I mean, this deck seems like it's got a pretty good matchup against the 5-color elementals deck. We beat them earlier pretty handily. I think I'm just gonna plus. Putting the Borrow in the graveyard is right now is maybe not just not what I want to be doing. Corbin, thank you for Twitch Prime, appreciate ya. Just let the Wrenn take 3, I think. The elementals beat a Torpor Orb? I'm sure they can. How often they actually do, I'm not sure. Okay, my opponent's had like just a draw of like no cyclers. It's very odd. Maybe I will ping this turn. See what we draw. Yeah, we've had a draw of no counter spells. I'll go ahead and ping. I'm assuming they didn't draw a cycler this turn either. Orvin, thank you for your sub. I can't remember, but thank you either way. This is fine. They target themselves with the Architects of Will. I wouldn't be surprised if they have 1 Living End in their hand. Morning Chaos. Text Wrenn with Borrower. Text me, okay. I'm gonna take 3. Try to scry into a counterspell. Or Archmage's Charm, of course. Yeah, we're still currently the trophy leader. We still have 15, Prince of Peace still has 14, and the next person has 12. I feel like we need to get one today. I think my opponent's casting Curator, yeah. Weird. We need a counterspell pretty badly. I'm bottoming both of these. Cycle of Triome. Ping this. I'll just take 4. In paper, can you declare your loop in Nexus? Yeah, you can. That's we've talked about this before. We had a judge confirm, yeah, that you can do that. Next, we're getting like ping plus bolts. You find a counterspell. What a weird game. This is gonna be Charlotte's Agent, no living end. They did find the living end. I mean, they can upgrade their Curator into an Architect's Borrower. It actually works out really well for me because I guess I don't know this for sure, but I assume that one of their 2 cards is the 3rd living end. Does Void Mirror even work? Yeah, Void Mirror. Are you talking about against elementals? Best way to beat Rhino deck with mid range, example Rakdos or Jund. I mean, I've been liking Chalice of the Void and Void Mirror. Yeah, those cards are both good against living end. Voidwalker is also really good against living end, but it's a bit weird. Bottom. Does Cascade work with Asmo? Yeah. Oh, whoops. Alright, stable at 1 life. Very stable. We sideboard Ragavan's like Yendrick's been doing in control decks. I've been doing that in some decks. You could do that in this deck, but because you have Typhoons, your opponent's not going to board out removal against you. But I've been doing that in some decks too. I think it's a good strategy. No room for Force. Force is not that well positioned in Modern. It's not about room. It's just about like not wanting to play it at the moment. They grieve pitching Architects of Will. I'm assuming that this means they're going to Cascade here. If they're not going to cycle the Architects. Okay, so they're going to get back. Oh, man. Yeah, so they get my Snapcaster out of here. They have 5 creatures. So we're going to need to draw pretty well here. Nexus of Fate is like the best draw by a lot, but also chaining cantrips together can be good. Wrenn and Six can deal with the Borrower. Oh, they get to Architects of Will Me. Yeah, we're probably dead. Or unless like the top of our library is just absurdly good. Yeah, the grief actually really did it for them. If we win game 1, then we're like really set for the match though, because we have Endurance and Chalice and Flusterstorm to bring in. Okay, well, we're gonna need that last card to be like really good, huh? Weren't you supposed to bolt face? You had 2 creatures. I mean, like maybe. I mean, the shark dies if we cast the bolt. I don't think it's really any different. It dies to the living end. Okay. Yeah, there's just a 3 less life. No! Oh man, so close. Maybe not that close. Well, 2 and 2. Yeah, maybe we weren't that close. All right, so I think we're bringing in these 7 for these 7. Endurance can even block. Like we have Wrenn and Six and Endurance for Borrower, Shark Typhoon for Borrower. Yeah, I think this is good. Seems like a good matchup. Post board, at least. Game 1 seem tricky. I'm kind of getting into SoundCloud lately. Like listening to different stuff, and I don't know how to use the app at all. It's like kind of unintuitive, I feel. This hand's really good if we draw a land. Maybe it's not that good actually. We don't have any sideboard cards. They can maneuver around my counterspell. I'm gonna mulligan. Keep this one. Put back a fetch land. Or I guess I could put back Breeding Pool. Back a fetch. I would like to draw like one sideboard card though. We boarded in a lot. Also, if they force my Wrenn and Six, we kind of just lose. Or maybe we could just lose. We could draw a land. So maybe that was a reason to put back Nexus. Bandcamp is a great alternative to SoundCloud. I'll maybe check that out. I just like found this a kind of cyberpunk-esque guy that I've been listening to called, it's just his name, Raul Alvarez. He's really talented. He just has like a couple songs on SoundCloud. Please don't force this. Thank you. Vendetta, thank you for your Twitch Prime. Appreciate ya. And Big Daddy Swaps, appreciate ya. When can we see the shark again? Maybe someday. We'll see. Like Curator. Alright, Shotgun Steam Vents, pass. Definitely representing Violent Outburst. Can we beat a Riverwinder and a Curator? Maybe. Probably not. I feel like casting nothing is just a good way to lose to like their forces and their disputes though. They also like might respect me having interaction here, of course. Seems like they do. Yeah, I mean, if they go for Violent Outburst with 4-sub, it's obviously like really bad for us, but well, they just don't go for it this turn. Now it might just be too late. Now we might be able to, if we can just find like a Wilderness Rec off of Factor Fiction, it doesn't really matter if they can Living End here. Well, I can counter this since my opponent doesn't have 4-sub. So I guess they just don't have Violent Outburst. Yeah, I think they just don't have it. They might have Force of Negation though. Jamming the Typhoon loses pretty hard to force into Cascade. Yeah, they're not F6. I think I'm just gonna pass. I don't think that they're gonna jam another Cascade into all this open mana, maybe. They have Violent Outburst, I imagine they cast it. So I think that they don't have one. We can't draw a sideboard card apparently. We have two Flusterstorms, a Chalice, 3 Endurance. That would all just be so incredibly good to find here. We just can't find one. I'm probably taking Counterspell like versus the other 4 cards here. That's a great draw. What are my thoughts about main decking Lurrus? Lurrus is a lot weaker as a main deck card when you compare it to playing it as a sideboard card. It's, you know, like it is a broken magic card as a companion, and it's a somewhat underpowered card as a main deck card. It's like fringe playable maybe in some decks, but it just is it's a completely different card. I'd open the link, King, if I was listening from my computer, not my phone. I'll just make a note in apps here. I guess I can just hold on. Just open the Twitch app. Then I can open it from here. I mulligan this hand. Keeping this one. Putting back the second charm, I guess. Not super happy to put back the second charm here. I'm also like, where are my sideboard cards? Where are they? I mean, we have to keep this hand. Main phase, cycle or Riverwinder. Thought I bottom charm. Cycling all main phase is interesting. I don't feel like I can afford to spiral here. Damn it! Come on, this is so frustrating. Maybe I should have gone to. I don't think I could go to 5 in that spot. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have. Said so many like crazy good sideboard cards. I'm just gonna find one. They're never doing a response to Spiral and instead because they're gonna play around Force. Maybe. Like not too many people are playing Force these days. Maybe you're right. That was definitely like how we do get out of that spot. I was also thinking like they wouldn't be that likely to. They would have to have Force plus Violent Outburst there to like do it in my upkeep, and so I was thinking that if I just don't cast it and they don't have Force of Negation, they're not going to jam into the open mana. But maybe they do if they also have like Shardless Agent or another Cascade spell in their hand. Interesting. Let's see what we draw. I'm kind of interested in getting Temur Triome on one, then playing Castle and going Spiral into Bolts. This game is definitely way better on the play. If I draw a green source, maybe I'll go Steam Vents Bolts. That is a green source. Kind of painful to go fetch Shock Bolts into Spiral. Fetch Shock. You just pass. Really lose the mutagenic growth too. I think I'm just gonna get the Triome. I'm gonna commit to it. I take a look at Dex Corvus for $5. Gift a sub or channel points. No freebies. I've been thinking about. I've been doing like 10 to 15 deck techs a stream every stream for the last like few weeks. Becoming a bit much to be honest, but I do enjoy doing them. I think we just go bolt here. They have mutagenic growth. We bolt the guy again. It's mill and a control deck. Do you think it's better using Kozilek or Ulamog? I mean, I've been playing the Ulamog and the 4-color control deck instead, but just because like I think that the indestructible and the destroy trigger matters more. The difference between 10 and 11 mana is not negligible, of course, but I think it's, you know, not a huge difference. But it really doesn't matter that much. It like really just almost doesn't matter at all. This is the important thing to note with that is that it just really doesn't matter. Why are they bolting? They should dart in their upkeep, not on my end step. They put Darcy into their graveyard. Alright, so I'm gonna let the Surveil trigger happen. Hopefully they don't get Delirium. They need a sorcery or a land, so they're pretty likely to hit. I kind of feel like they have maybe Iteration on top. That pause makes me think they have Iteration on top, and they're like, well, I'll just cast that and get Delirium. I'm gonna counterspell the Manamorphose. And then we're gonna take... Oh, they can dart me if they do have a source, and put the Iteration in the graveyard to deal more damage with the Channeler if they want. But if they put Iteration in the grave... Oh, this gives Delirium because it just puts the Mountain in the yard. Right. They put... And their top card was Swift Spear. That was the card they kept. Now they hit me for 6 down to 6 life. Just gonna main phase Factor Fiction, see if we find a burn spell. No burn spell means we're not likely to win this game. Then the endurances are gonna be pretty good post board. Explosives are pretty good too against this version. I've been playing Blue Red Prowess a little bit off stream with Demilich over Stormwing Entity and been liking that a bit. Guess we take this pile. Doesn't matter all that much. We need them to draw like land, which is hard for them to do because they have Darcy. I guess if they just draw land, there's not much they can do about it. Maybe just 2 lands in a row now that we have the counterspell. I don't know. It's also fine if they draw Darcy or Soulscar Mage this turn or Stormwing Entity. One of the 2 cards was a land. We need the other card to be a dud. They are pausing to think here, which makes me think that they have a spell. Guess we're alive, huh? Guess we're alive. I'm going to play Wrenn and Six, return Hinterland Harbor, and then have cycle Triome with a counterspell up. Cannot beat the card Lava Dart. We can counter with next spell. I'm assuming their card just has to. Their card is either Stormwing Entity or a land. So this is their draw step. I almost want to counter it since just every draw gets them closer to Lava Dart. Let me see what I draw off of this. Wait, what? That's just gotta be a fake. It doesn't make any sense for their card in hand to be a burn spell. That's just gotta be a pump fake. That's just like an obvious bluff. I feel like we're reading into random pauses a bit much. Reading into random pauses is like, I feel like I'm usually able to get a really good read on my opponent's hand just from reading into pauses. I actually feel like that's a big streak that I have as a player, is reading people's hands, even on Magic Online. Opponent's hand is land / Stormwing and 2 unknowns. Yeah, I don't think I counter Mutagenic Growth. Gotta save the counterspell. If they cast Stormwing Entity, am I countering that one though? Maybe. Okay, the last card was not Stormwing. It could have been the Spire Bluff Canal though. Don't know the other card. It could be another Mutagenic Growth maybe. I might go ping. And now I'm gonna go well, ping is kind of good if I'm just kind of committed to not ultimating Wrenn, which is maybe fine. It's also like if their last card is Mutagenic Growth, we just get to get that out of their hand. And then attack for 4 and pass. What a game. What a game. Oh yeah, no, Heat is Delirious for Entity. The last card is either land or mutagenic growth. Can't really be anything else. I guess it could be a Swift Spear. They could potentially. No, they would have cast it last turn. Okay, that gives me 2 counterspells. So now we actually can beat Lava Dart, technically. Oh, was I supposed to ping? I guess I can just double ping next turn. I think I was probably supposed to ping this turn though. Okay, this was definitely their draw step. I don't think that they would be sandbagging Lava Dart. So countering this, I believe the only way we lose is if they've been sandbagging Lava Dart. We don't want to let them draw into Lava Dart because that's also a way we can lose. Yeah, apparently the opponent thought I had never been at 1 life before. So it seems. Man, stabilizing at 1 life for like 6 turns is always a really good feeling. To keep the snap counter spell up this whole time. What a game. I can't believe we won. Whew. Feels really good, especially coming off of that hard loss to the Elementals deck. I think I should probably bring in the Chalice. Like, I haven't been bringing it in against Burn. Against Prowess, the card is just like so good though. Let's turn off 7 of my cards, but turns off more of theirs. And Wrenn and Six kind of mad against them. Yeah, we faded the Dart for long enough. That was also like the only card that the only single card that beat us for a little while. Yeah, 1 is greater than 0. That early game too, we took the least amount of damage possible. If we had fetched and shocked and bolted, I think we lose that game, right? Maybe not. Okay, not a keep against Prowess. 3 burn spells is pretty good. I don't really feel very confident in my ability to beat Prowess on a mold of 5. I'm gonna keep and hope to draw a red source. Can't cast them. I know I can't cast them, but like I think that if we draw a red source in the top 2, this hand is better than the average 5, and like look, all of a sudden our hand's really good. The average 5 card hand is not very good. Durance makes me want to not kill the Channeler immediately. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's like a hard hand to have to keep, but like on the draw against a Prowess opponent who keeps 7, you're just not winning very many games if you go to the 5. So I think we're more likely to win keeping this hand than going to the average 5. But again, doesn't feel great. We beat that? I guess we could cast our bolts. Maybe we should have held that. The cycle. Yeah, I don't have a basic forest in the deck, but I do have basic islands. We can maybe get there. I want to kill this. Go use heat. I'm not sure. Yes, we have 4 basic islands in the deck. If we could draw one of those and a Typhoon or like a Factor Fiction, we can get there. I probably should have held this to cycle though. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll play like 2 more 1-drops this turn or something. They make blue. Oh, that's probably a little too hopeful that this would be Dimulich. Okay, so we'll prioritize getting an island in the next game, but Blood Moon is pretty good against us. Have to naturally draw it now. And still pitch Endurance, I guess. Spyro, wow. Interesting. A lot of 3-drops that they boarded in. They also boarded 2 Blood Moons, Spell Pierce. Kind of a lot. Probably just gonna pack it up in a second. I don't draw like Typhoon or Island. Okay, I drew the Island. I'll keep playing. Yeah, now I can draw Typhoon and win. Yeah, Spyro is like sometimes a one of in the sideboard of prowess. No, I don't have Gust in the sideboard. I might just have to bring in more counter spells, but and we can also beat Blood Moon. Just cuts us off the green spells. Kind of a slow card, can counter it. Maybe we'll cut all the reclamations when they bring in the spell pierces. The mana base and 4-color midrange could support a cavern to help versus control matchups. I feel like you already have pretty good control matchups. At least like fine enough that I don't think it can support cavern. Like cavern is really awkward with Wrenn and Six, and like you don't have like matching creature types really. Like so if you name like human for the general or whatever for the general, it's all of a sudden going to be a bit awkward when you draw your Omnath and your cavern doesn't tap for Omnath. I would play a different sideboard card for control, you know. I think that, you know, again, it's also important to say that it can be very easy to try to beat everything with mid-range and control decks, and if you just try to beat everything, it's a good way to lose like important percentage points in matchups that are actually important. All right, I like this hand. Animals to 5. That definitely bodes well for us, especially with like the Bolt plus Counterspell. Maybe got the 3rd island this turn. Probably doesn't matter that much. Yeah, just good next turn. Dart me end of turn on a Mold of 5. What the hell? Why do people do this? I see this line like a decent amount of the time, and I really truly don't understand it. Why do people do this? Can anybody give me insight? They're just saving the dart for later. I mean, they're on a Moldify. I mean, they should just save the dart in hand for later, right? He gets storming out of bolt range on turn 2. Okay, that makes sense. That is like, that actually is a real reason. I still feel like on a Moldify, it's like a spew of resources, but I could see it making sense, like depending on what their hand looks like, and maybe on what their heart looks like, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. Let this resolve. Did they do that game 1? When I put in Blood Moons, I might just let it resolve. I probably shouldn't. But it's like, they get cut off of blue mana, and I'm just gonna hard cast this Typhoon. I'm cut off of green, but I cut my Reclamations. I'll counter the entity. They don't have a counter magic up. I guess they could surgical or something. Yeah, I mean this makes sense. I think this is a fine play. I just didn't really understand like what the thought process was, but now I do. It's pretty interesting. I'm not sure if I'm cycling end of turn or hard casting. I think if my opponent if they tap their blue land, I'll just like untap hardcast. If they leave it up to like hold up spell pierce, I'm gonna cycle. I think that's gonna be my decision point. Although maybe waiting a turn to get this out of bolt range is still worth it. Be honest, is card draw zombies a good trap? I don't know what card draw zombies is. You'll have to be more specific. Right, Spyro. They did have Spell Pierce. They discard that and the Lightning Bolt, so we're just gonna hard cast here. You ever listen to music in headphones? I literally every stream. I used to not. I don't know how I did it. For the longest time I didn't, but yeah. And down to 10. Good draw. What kind of shark are we making? It's kind of a philosophical question, isn't it? What kind of music am I listening to right now? Maybe I'm embarrassed to say. I don't know, talking about music's a bit weird, right? Because everybody just wants to hear me say that I like the music they like. I just want the counterspell pile. Or be embarrassed of what I like. I'm not embarrassed. I just don't necessarily want to talk about it. You know what I mean? They can double dart to save their Swift Spear. That's fine. They do. They dart me, but then I get to block this with Spear. Oh no, they get the extra triggers. The shark dies. Maybe this is bad. Block here, takes 6, down to 3. Scary life total, of course. Then we can go Endurance, Bolt, make a shark, block, block. Go to 1. Uh-oh. Need to maybe draw a spell. Block. Oh, wait. Sorry, not 1. Yeah, I guess we're gonna go kill, kill, block, block. Hold up counterspell here. You go into details about how you think your opponent should pick fact or fiction piles and how you choose the one you go with. I mean, the nice thing about fact or fiction is like you don't have to think about it too much. It's your opponent that has to make the hard decision, right? And then it should be relatively simple which one you pick. You pick the one that has better cards for your hand and game plan. But I could maybe try to go into more detail than I have been. But you're probably overthinking it, at least for Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction is a very easy card to cast. It's a hard card for your opponent to pick the piles for. And it's hard for me to comment on like how my opponent's making the piles because they don't have perfect information about my hand and I don't have perfect information about their hand. And so the piles that they tend to make tends to be contextual on what's in their hand, and so in that regard, it's difficult to. I don't need to endurance this turn. Yeah, but in that regard, it's difficult to like comment on on what their thought process is because I don't know what's going on in their head because I don't know what's in their hand. If we're in a spot where both players are top decking, then like it's maybe easier to commentate on, but it's also true that there's probably not too much to say in those spots. But I would really recommend like not overthinking it too much when your opponent's choosing your fact or fiction piles because you just don't need to, you know. Should I hold this for? I guess I'll play it so I can pay for double spell pierce on counterspell. Yeah, just don't think about it too much when your opponent has like this when they're splitting your fact or fiction piles, like they're the one with the really tricky decision. You just don't need to worry too much. You can start making your decision after they split the piles. We get to shuffle the Spyros back in, which is nice. And we actually are shuffling in like a decent amount of lands. Maybe I should have done that in draw step though. I'm not sure. Drew a Bloodstained Mire, seems. Sack a Fiery Islet. Yeah, Gifts is way harder to cast. Of course. I'm not gonna counter that. This is like this just shuts them off blue mana. Doesn't really do that much to me. Should I ping them? Doesn't change the clock. Do you remove lands from those outcomes? Remove lands from those outcomes. I don't understand the question. Ping was correct. Could you go into a little more details? Killer Squid, thanks for your subscription. Appreciate you. Obviously, I might not know, but is Canister competing with right now for Trophy Leader? I don't know. When you say competing, like, is Canister actively trying to become Trophy Leader? I don't know. Maybe. I know that he had Trophy in his title this morning, but I think he currently has 10. Oh, he's up to 11 now. Okay, so he's 4 behind me. I do have 2 bolts. They go to 3. We attack with Shark and ping again. This is a bluff. They don't have another bolt. They would just cast it immediately. They're just trying to make me concede. I say Jaja, it's a prank. I know. Yeah. Let's keep this. Kind of a slow hand, or maybe not slow, but a bit of a risky hand. Have I considered Expansion Explosion? I only consider Expansion Explosion when I'm flooding out and have a ton of mana, because chat spams. Expansion Explosion would be really good here. But in my opinion, Expansion Explosion is worse than playing One Toughness Creature, please. Hell yeah. Expansion Explosion, in my mind, is worse than like any number of Factor Fiction, Shark Typhoon, Snapcaster Mage, Archmage's Charm. And so it's hard to like justify, you know, the one Nexus of Fate. It's hard to justify a card that's like only good when you have a ton of mana, because there are so many cards that are only good when you have a ton of mana. Expansion Explosion is quite weak when you're not just like in total control of the game, and cards that are only really good when you're in total control of the game are not usually cards that I'm that interested in playing. What WTF is Squirrel Blade? It's a Bant Squirrel Blade. It's a Bant Stoneblade deck that plays Toski. A deck that we played a lot of on the channel, and I've liked that deck. I'll let that resolve. Just get my 2 for 1. Or that one. This is card draw zombies. Alright. You've baited me. Oh, this deck. I would say that it's probably not super well positioned now. Another copy of Wrenn. I can't kill this one. See if they have a land to get back. They might have another Forgotten Cave. I feel like they probably should not have played the Forgotten Cave as a land if they had the Wrenns in the hand at the time, but they maybe didn't have the red source. Oh, I should have spiraled in response. What am I doing? Sorry. I should have spiraled in response. I could draw Counterspell. So their Wrenn didn't get anything back this last turn. Let's go Factor Fiction, see if we hit Delirium. Need to hit land and enchantment or creature, which we don't have that many of in the deck, admittedly. Windless Night, you can't suspend a spell if you've already cast another spell when Canoness is in play. Yeah, but yeah, because yeah, well, I'll obviously take this pile. Yeah, that's because you can only suspend when you could cast a spell, right? Definitely a weird interaction. All right, let's double bolt the Wrenn in response to this. So they don't get any card advantage, or bolt plus heat. Yeah, typically I do pretty badly against Naya Tradebinder, but I think we have a good chance this match. I guess it's more of like, seems to be more of a, like a lands focused deck than just like your average Tradebinder pile. Seems like a good matchup. I'm just reeling over that Living and Loss. Just have so many good sideboard cards and we just couldn't find one. It's fine, it's fine. Play a tapped Copperline Gorge. Seismic Assault, my old nemesis. My old nemesis, Seismic Assault. When I was first getting into Magic, I was playing, you know, very much kitchen table with my best friend. This is like before I started playing competitively at all. And so the first modern deck I built was Beck and Call Elves with Intruder Alarm that I thought was just so cool. And I was right, of course. And then my friend built Loam Pox, which was a very, very bad matchup for elves, to say the least. I don't think I beat him once, but we played a lot of matches. Yeah, this is the same 75 we settled on last week. It's been feeling pretty good today. Been feeling pretty good. Trophied twice with it last week, and I feel like I just wanted to get a little bit of a refresher on this deck today. Well, we got Archmage's Charm to steal their Seismic Assault. I mean, I mean, my opponent could be playing Swans. I also have, there are at least 4 colors. Countering Seismic Assault counts as bullying. Probably, yeah, it's probably legally bullying. I can't believe my opponent missed a land drop. They loan back Tranquil Thicket. I don't have Force of Negation in the deck to exile that, I guess. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, that's the really nice thing about Rec as your, like, you know, yeah, Reclamation decks in general compared to other control decks is you can just ignore nonsense like this. You can really just go over the top of decks, and sometimes control decks struggle to beat weird value engines like this. Yeah, the Temple Garden, Overgrown Tomb, Seismic Assault deck. Although to be fair, they probably have filter lands. Nexus of Fate, Shark Typhoon, Growth Spiral. We'll keep these. Good Factor Fiction. They're not. This is not the split. Okay. Okay, this is a terrible split. This is very easily keep this pile. Just shuffle the Nexus back in. What decks would I rate as tier 1? The metagame is changing a lot at the moment. It's honestly very difficult to establish what is truly tier 1 in Modern at the moment. It does feel like there are a lot of decks that are very close to tier 1, and they're all kind of struggling for top dog, where it was like pretty clearly Hammer Time for maybe a week or so. And that deck is starting to be pushed out of the format a bit. Sorry. Hard to talk and tap for mana. So it's hard to say exactly what the true tier 1 decks are. It's also like, you know, my definition tends to be a little different than what most people say, where I will usually define a tier 1 modern deck based on how popular it is, and if I consider it to be, you know, the deck to beat, or like one of the most popular decks that people are playing. Good concession, opponent. While a lot of people will instead consider tier 1 decks to be the quote-unquote best deck, whatever that means to them, you know. Whatever that means to them, that's what they'll consider tier 1 to be. And that's just not usually my definition. I think I'll play like 2 bolts. We saw Eula. How prevalent are X ones? I may play goblins. Yeah, I would main deck Chain Whirler if I was playing goblins. I'll take some, yeah. Thank you. Do you feel Charbelcher fears against the meta? I actually lost to Charbelcher off stream last night. Playing Demi Lich Prowess. Seemed fine. I died on turns 2 and 3, I think. But I don't know. It's I don't know. There's a lot of cards. There's a lot of artifact hate, and there's like a lot more. You know, the card Counterspell is legal now. It's probably not great. But I lost. Wasn't Recross bug? I don't think I saw them playing Recross. I don't know exactly what their list was. I don't know. I don't know that they fixed it if it was bugged. They loan back 2 lands. Pretty good. Maybe Endurance to loam at some point. Maybe next turn. I would love to get to Spiral this turn and play Reclamation with Counterspell / Endurance up. I play off stream because I love Magic, where I'm prepping other content. Well, a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Hall of Heliod's Generosity is pretty cool, so they can loam over their enchantments and get them back. I like that a lot. Alright, so Counterspell this. And then I guess we're gonna just Endurance there. Loam next turn. Why do you play off stream? To relax or test new decks? Mostly to test new decks, right? I mean, this is my full-time job, and I want to. And I maybe I don't say this enough, but I think one of the biggest draws to my stream, and like one of the biggest reasons I found a lot of success on Twitch, is that I play test decks off stream. You know, a lot of streamers, and I would say maybe even the majority, they just, they'll stream their playtesting, and that's most of their stream is them playtesting. Of course, right? Of course, that's what most of it is. But in my opinion, playtesting is less interesting to watch. Maybe I probably should have spiraled in response. Again, playtesting is less interesting to watch than like watching a deck that's already been tuned and playtested, and like especially when I'm playing a lot of brews and I'm doing a lot of like trying to a lot of innovative deck building. If you can see that I have a somewhat spicy title, you can come into the stream and know that I've playtested this deck with an interesting title. It's pretty rare that I'll just register like a unique or interesting deck that I haven't played or tested off stream. I think that's a big part of the reason why I found success on Twitch. What about Ice Fang in the deck? I think you could play it, but it's also like it makes you have to build the mana base a lot differently. It makes your mana base enough worse that I don't think it's correct to play it, but you could play it. Especially like just starting off too. Like I worked really hard just playtesting off stream, and it's if you're gonna make it on Twitch, you have to work really hard. You have to have a way more interesting personality than I do for people to just like tune in, just listen to you talk, or we'll just watch you play whatever game you're playing. You have to work really hard if you're gonna make it. That's what I do, is just work as hard as I can. Is there a good spot in the meta for Enchantress? Yeah, I think Enchantress is fine. It's like playable.
Because I have a great personality, but I don't work hard.
Yeah, Esther could parry with her personality probably.
No, never make it.
Oh, they get to loam here. Well, you'd say I make it? Well, I mean, with all humility, yeah. With complete humility, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is a big part of like why I have become a 1K Andy. I work like, I think I work harder than almost any other streamer for the Magic category. And I think that effort, like, does show, and people appreciate it. Yeah, maybe not as hard as Croaky's. Croaky's does work hard, I think. I don't love either of these. I guess I can keep the Snapcaster and try to like cycle into or scry into something pretty relevant. That's pretty relevant. Oh, both of these are good. Okay, so I can go Snap, Spiral, draw the Endurance, and Endurance away their graveyard. As you see quite a bit of time on Doomwig's Twitch. Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot of Twitch while I'm playtesting. I guess I should scribe before I cast the Endurance. What did I do with that one? I have no idea. I have no idea what just happened to that Hinterland Harbor. Did I put it on top or bottom? I right clicked twice on accident. I topped it, okay. How much you and Doom play Magic both on and off stream? I did that for about a year. Kobe got burnout. Yeah, it's like managing burnout is definitely something I'm pretty conscious of. I do make a pretty active effort to try to mitigate burnout, because I know if I get burned out, it just makes the stream quality worse. But I really have put everything I can into making the stream as good as I possibly can. You know, it is definitely very hard work, but it pays off, I think. Yeah, I tried to click undo. Oh, they played the Foothills. That was a mistake, right? They probably wanted to kill my snap. I think they're just dead to my shark, right? When did I feel I made it? This morning when Cheddar told me I had. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Yes, you can't. Getting complacent is just death. In any aspect of life, getting complacent and feeling like you finally made it is just death. And I've spent a lot of my adult life being very complacent, and I've spent a lot of my adult life not working hard. And now that I finally have found success in something, I just want to push myself as hard as I possibly can. Alright, 4-1 that league, losing a really heartbreaking match to Living End. I'm gonna run it back. I like this deck a lot. I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to play a